Hi, I'm John Halloran, and I'm the co-developer of the LAMP method. And I'm going to describe LAMP words for life vocabulary in sort of a really down and dirty short description. So LAMP words for life comes in three levels. You have the one hit, that's what I'm on right now. And at the one hit level, when you hit something like go, it says go. And when you hit the drink, it says drink. So it's the 84 words. Well, let's be honest here. You lose a clear display, so that's one, and you lose the spell mode. So that's 82 words. But then on the one thing my wife and I thought about is I wanted the word mom and dad on there. So we compromised. And this button here, see how there's a dad and a mom and a little boy here? We're all in the family together. When you touch that button, it actually, even at the one hit level, sequences and you get the word mom and dad. I'm just going to change it quick because I'm actually at the transition level there. No big deal to switch because it looks the same. Okay. All right, so here you are, one hit, one message. Again, when you hit go, it says go. All right, but there was one exception, and that is when you hit this family, you get mom and dad. You may not have known this, but we on purpose space things far apart as much as we could, within reason. Yes and no are somewhat together, but they're not next to each other. That's by design. See how the good is in the middle? Because when you're in the middle of subject, it's good. And if you're bad, you get put in the corner. But good and bad are far apart by design. So when we came up with 84 locations, many years ago, we actually used 128. And at one time, we had 144 location device. And we've always believed that more locations meant less sequencing or more vocabulary, which meant easier. But no matter how much you want to argue with the world, people are going with more portable devices that are smaller. And when you try to do 128 or 144 locations on a smaller device, they get pretty small. And for a lot of the individuals that we work with, no matter how much people don't do it as well as they want, or as often as I think they should, a key guard is oftentimes the lifesaver for many of these kids. But even without a key guard, you want to be able to move fluidly and easily and not worrying about hitting the wrong thing. When I'm on my iPhone, I got to worry about hitting the wrong button. So if you see someone putting cognition into hitting, then that button's probably too small. Always remember to try a key guard. You'll see the benefit. Anyway, I'm not going too much into all that stuff. I'm just doing an overview of the vocabulary. The one thing, though, I do need you to understand about these 83 words is they were based on frequency. Again, we looked at studies like Mayor Benagi's, who took the 50 preschoolers or toddlers, they were between 24 and 36 months. They tape recorded everything they said, and they said that those 23 words accounted for 96.3% of the words the children used. So the first 23 words accounted for 96.3%. There was many other studies we looked at. We also looked at written text like Dolch list to see what words occur in speech. So anyway, that's LAMP Words for Life one hit. The new thing I want to make sure you understand that I don't see being done just as much as I wish it was, is that you don't have to go from one hit to the transition to the full all in one giant leap. If you have a kid who has a passion for colors, notice I'm at the one hit level when I hit more. But you could have a kid who loves, or an adult who loves colors. So when they hit color, that key would be at a higher level. Or maybe they're ready to work on feelings. And when you hit feelings, that key would be at a higher level. So just so you know, you could have a child at the full level for foods, the transition level for drinks, and the full level for musical instruments or something. And yet everything else is still at the one hit. All right, so please attend a training and we'll really get you to understand all that. The next thing I want to do is show you the LAMP Words for Life transition level. Remember, there's three levels. So the transition level is my favorite. Not loved by as many people as I wish it was, but I think that's just because I know this sounds terrible, but I think they haven't understood what we wanted you to do with it yet. But anyway, here's how it works. It's the 203 words that occur most in speech. You know what that means. According to most studies, that's somewhere between, I'm going to say low 80% and high 85 or 90% of all the words that we use every day are called core words. Well, that's a very powerful vocabulary to have. And so now you have the 205 words, but they're not just thrown on the device again. When you hit the drink, the reason water is here and juice is here and drink is by design that they're spaced far apart to make their visual perceptually easier to see and motorically more unique to each other. But they're also stored at a location on purpose because the drink that everybody says is good for you, that makes you healthy, is water. And this one right here, I moved my icon up a little bit, you'll see when I move myself, well, this is the word down, and you push down on juice. So when you juice things, you have to push them down so that becomes there, but they're spaced apart by design. Now again, the transition level is no good unless you have the 200 or 300 words that are important to you. We really have to understand the benefit of core words that occur often in speech have everything to do with segmentation, that you can hear those words and that they don't draw good pictures. They're not easy to play Pictionary with the words that occur in speech, but you need them. Remember, the two tricks to that language explosion are the fact that you have to have many words at once, learn many words simultaneously, and the second trick, according to McMurray, is again that some of the words you learn take longer to learn. So you have to know it's not how fast you learn them, but what they do for you when you do learn them. Okay, I didn't get on that path. Just let's stay to the architecture. The architecture was when you touch something, it doesn't talk, and then their words are spaced apart by design. But at this transition level, you would be filling it with at least, I'm going to say 100 to 200, maybe more, of the things that are important to them. So on the Facebook group a few weeks ago, we were talking about Thanksgiving, and a bunch of the parents wrote that their kids love chicken nuggets and not turkey. So if you have a child who only eats 3 foods, at this level, when they hit the apple to say eat, they would need to see a picture of a nugget show up in that second row. And it's okay. That's transition in a very short, abbreviated way. But remember to add the fringe words that are important to them. The only thing else I want to remind you is, again, foods could be at the full level, and the word end could still be at the one hit level, and the rest of the words could be at transition. We need to think of these levels as one hit, transition, and full, but you could be at any combination of those from one hit to full. Okay, now the full level, my favorite. I do love the full level just like everybody else. But I want you to remember, some kids, or adults, I don't want this to come across as, I know I'll get all kinds of hate mail about this. You can never be too robust. But I think we're naive if we don't know that some people get thrown in the water and it's too deep. I mean, if I am working on my first 10 words, I need to have a path to get to the fullest robust vocabulary possible. But if I'm swimming in all sorts of words that don't have meaning for me, I might need to make my system give me steps to get there. That's what I think Words for Life does a very good job of. Takes you from one hit to transition to full, where you're continually learning and getting more words. And some people can start right on the full level and never use things like Vocabulary Builder, and I understand that. For those that need a path, I want to give you a path from one hit to transition to full, giving them the words that are important to them, easily defined. Okay, here's the full level. Help me with this myth. People always describe it. For some reason, they have trouble with how many words we have. It's 4,494 words based on frequency, and no word is duplicated. Now, that's important you understand, because sometimes when people say, I have a vocabulary that's 6,000 words, you need to also ask them how many words are duplicated. Because if you have, there's two things they might do. They might count one word twice, but even worse than that, if they have 6,900 words in there and 3,000 more have been duplicated, you have a visual load that comes with all those duplicate representations that needs to be accounted for and needs to be understood. One of the things I love about Words for Life is the number of empty cells. So we did spend a lot of time looking at how many keys should go to the third button. And we knew no sequence should be longer than 3. So some words are one hit. Words like are and is and were and was, those are one hit. The word is a one hit. I think there's 9 of them. Then many words are at the transition or the 2-hit level. So when I hit the word drink and I say water, it never goes any farther. That's 2 buttons, 1, 2. When I hit the bathroom, because this house gives me my rooms, bathroom is where good was, because it's good when you use the potty. And if you drink too much water, you go to the watering room or the bathroom. So now notice that I can see that sequence before I begin. I can see this house plus this good is going to be bathroom. And that's all in our deep respect and appreciation for semantic compaction and Bruce Baker's work. The thing we did is we embellished, though, the second icon to confirm your understanding was correct. Some individuals actually hit the house and need to see a picture of a bathroom. Others will, because you'll help them understand it, will see the sequence before they begin and it just confirms you were correct. It's the best of both worlds, because we took the advantage of making the motor plans unique, making the association to the symbol, and having it embellished. You can say, I got it. Okay, let me do one more. If you want to think of these things as categories, you can think of it that way. Like this category would be for foods. And this category would be for computers, words like printer. So when I hit this, I get keyboard. My wife and I loved it when we stored the word iPad right here, because the first thing we loved is it was visually isolated. See how there's nothing around it. The second, it was an easy motor plan because it just taps the one next to it. It was quite easy for someone just to tap, tap. And the beautiful thing was, because it was an Apple, and on every iPad is a picture of an apple, it's an Apple product. Now, again, we know many individuals cannot understand the computer that's an Apple as an iPad, but for those of us who can and who can learn, and I assume everyone can with the right intervention, people can learn a lot more than they suspect, us presuming competence always. But when I hit this, it changes to a picture of an iPad. If I can't make that association to the iPad, it changes to a real visual of an iPad. Okay, a little more. Empty icons are important. I'll do the math on another day for another thing, but there's this math I need you to understand, that after each one of these locations, you have the potential for 84 locations. If you ever touch one and then go to a mid sequence, that's 84 more locations. So this is important, why we would never go more than 3 keystrokes, but we wouldn't want everything at 2 keystrokes. Because if you put everything at two keystrokes, everything would look more like the rainbow does. The rainbow is actually quite cluttered. When you hit it, because there's lots of colors, and we've got the verb in here, and we got all these art supplies, it's actually a very cluttered location. So I don't like to use it to add new words, but we basically have a lot of colors and a lot of art supplies already in there. But when you hit the name icon where we store names, notice that it's completely empty, leaving you a complete grid to add more names, knowing that that was important. Now, this is important that you understand that without empty icons, it's hard to add the things that are important to you and keep the keystrokes down, which is one of the best benefits of LAMP, is that we give you an architecture to add fringe vocabulary with very few keystrokes. Okay, let me go over a couple more things like this. I really love Bruce's work, of course, and I love the way he handled the verbs. So this is Mr. Action Man, and you say, what would Mr. Action Man do with an apple? He would eat it. And what would Mr. Action Man do with a cup? He would drink it. But you notice this pattern now is I'm going to get my regular tense verb with that Mr. Action Man. What would he do in a bed? What would he do with a shoe? You know, he would run with his shoes on. What would he do with a book? He would read. But look how beautiful this is. If you know that this is drink, then drinks, drinking. My ing ends here, drinking. So immediately I know, if I know sleep, I now know sleeping. Now let me show you an adaptation we made in Words for Life that I love. Not to be arrogant here, but when you touch the apple, see how this one is green. The green is telling my brain, the pattern is, if it's solid green like that, it says it's a verb. Now, the reason we write text on every symbol is called, something called the Stroops Effect, because many individuals you work with can read many years before they can understand the symbol. And when you can read, you read first and look down to interpret why that's grow. So some people don't even pay attention to this symbol, they just read. Okay, so when I touch that, it goes to grow. I know it's going to do that because when I touch this, this is already green, and capitalized tells me it's not going to talk. I love pizza, so it's been customized over here, but see how it's small text and it's not colored, so I know it's going to talk when I touch it. When I hit this, I see it's green, I see it's capitalized, but here's my favorite part. Once I see that, it's really a two-hit language or vocabulary, because when I touch it, I only get that form of that word. I might get a noun or an adverb, but it'll still be a form of that word. It won't be a third word like the word chew or something. Like if I get the word chew right here, once I see this says chew and it's green, when I touch it, I have no chance of getting a word like bite. So I'm basically, what I love about this is once you hit that mid sequence, you're already down the path of what verb you're going to get. And I don't mind a kid or an individual learning and saying the wrong verb. If you say, I chewed daddy's cookies, you'll still know I chewed his cookies. You know, I chewing daddy's cookies. You'll correct it. You'll say it back. You'll cast it back, correcting the grammar, and they learn more by that experience. Okay, that's LAMP Words for Life full. There's a lot more to it, and I hope you understand that we put a lot into this. And it's the LAMP Words for Life full is 4,494 words based on frequency. I hope there's some understanding that that is a huge, robust vocabulary. If you take the 4,494 words that occur most in speech, I mean, when you look at the shapes here, and you go into the shapes and you realize you're all the way down to words like tetra and scalene, what I want you to know is when you're at 4,494 and we add the 300 or 400 or 500 words that are most important to you, you probably have 95% or so of all the words you want to say every day. What individuals learn to do is speak within that 95%, and sometimes they can spell and use word prediction, others can't, but you can get along pretty well with 95% of the words you want to say. And we give you this architecture to add new words. And I hope that you'll come to a full day training so we can explain to you a lot more. But this was just a quick overview of LAMP, one hit, transition, and fall, and why we designed Words for Life the way we did. I hope it helps, and let us know how to help you learn more about it.